All right, good morning, folks. We're going to be looking at the non-farm payroll, just observing. It won't be a long session. I'm going to only be here for about 15 minutes or so. Okay, cables below the bodies of the candles on here, so they'll probably run it for these equal lows down in here. And dollar did go above the daily high of this candle in here, and we said if we did that, it would probably make a run for the liquidity in here above the body of this candle. 156, so we'll probably see it maybe run up and grab that liquidity on non-farm payroll. Now, non-farm payroll, we don't trade it. We're just looking at it, getting a feel for what they may end up doing for the rest of the month. Doesn't look so exciting when you're watching it on a daily chart now, does it? You have this on a 5-minute chart. It looks like the world's ending. It would be nice to see it just give up this whole entire attempt to rally and make that run for this level down here, 98.90 we were looking for. That'd be really nice. And no, I'm being asked if I weigh out the actual numbers. I don't have the capacity to do that. Looks like we went bearish for a second here. Let's see if we get some acceleration on the downside. No, large funds don't participate in non-farm payroll. They have positions, I'm sure, ahead of the non-farm payroll release, as sometimes I have in the past. What I like to do is I like to monitor what levels it reaches for, and I'm certainly willing to allow the market to tell me to collapse the trade. But usually my stops are not anywhere near non-farm payroll because you know when it's coming. It's the first of every month. I like watching it because it usually sets up some sort of indication for the month. Usually what we see in the non-farm payroll release and the reactions thereof gives us a clue as to what they'll probably do for the rest of the month. Not always, but it's general rule of thumb. Usually it's the opposite direction. Yeah, you guys getting the feeling that we're ramping up for a very volatile summer? I think the U.S. is in for a real rough way. Australian dollar caught its second wind. It would be really nice to see it just expand and hit that level just for general principles. I'd like to be able to see that level hit for the week. We had a nice move on gold from this order block here. And I'd like to see it expand up and hit that level. Right up here at 1240 still, so that's still an objective. As mentioned yesterday, Aussie looks like it wants to take out yesterday's high. If it does, it should immediately expand towards this level here. Cable's still flat. Hasn't really done much at all. It's come off of its low. And dollar's still not convincing one way or the other. Do I think the euro can go to the 108.70 today? Is that what you're asking? It certainly, that's where I think it may want to reach for. I like the fact that we didn't give up much of the range of this midway point of this down candle right in here. Mean threshold kind of respected that and came off of that, so that's encouraging. So hopefully we'll get some kind of a turn. If it holds this wick in here and we get a gap opening up on Sunday, trade back down a little bit and close it in real quick and then start to expand, that'd be nice. Then obviously we would be reaching for that 108.70 level now. But as it is right now, it's not on payroll Friday. It's always a toss-up. I'm not really ever really 100% sure what direction it's going. Any other day of the month, I'm pretty confident if I have an inclination that it's going to move to one side of the market or over the other. It's pretty easy to pick out where it's going to go then and what levels it's reaching for. But non-farm payroll, you just want to avoid that and not try to get so insistent upon knowing what's going to happen in this day. I give up trying to do that on this one day of the month. I could care less. But it does help me get a feel for what the month may do. Dollar is trapped in a fractal. I'll give you a last 5 minutes of interaction. What's this candle over here? Bullish or bearish breaker? Okay. So understanding that in relationship to the institutional reference points that we look at, would this be if we're down here prior to non-farm payroll? We look for that level to do what? If price is down here, it could expand to a good answer, Brandon. Once it gets here, we measure if it has willingness to get through halfway point. Also, we have all this right in here. This down move in here. So price expanded up into the breaker. Now, is the breaker just this candle? It's the one right before it too, right? Because it's two down candles. Back to back, that's the entire order block. So we look at the midway point of that range from here to here. That's how far it can reach up into. This fell short of that. So it expanded up into the breaker. What makes this a breaker? Because it was short-term high back here. It rallied through it, took the stops, and then rejected and traded down through it. So when you look at price like this run up above this old high, what type of institutional swing point is this? Very good. Breaker swing. Takes the stops out. If this would have reversed with a lower high here in relationship to this one, what would that be? Failure swing. Good job. There's only two classifications for institutional swing points. These are the best because it comes back for the stops and then runs away. It's highly unlikely that it wants to come back to that level later on. So what we're looking at is we have price having a difficult time getting through these two down candles here, and I'm looking at this candle as indecisive because basically the open and close is the same. So you blend those two together. We're holding right at that level here on the downside, and we're having trouble getting through the breaker here. So we're stuck, and it's Friday, so we're probably going to just chop wood for the rest of the day. If you are a day trader, and I'm saying this only because we're kind of like on the casual today, nothing's really tradable on non-farm payroll. It doesn't have any really indications about swing trading. It's completely isolated from that. So I'll just talk freely about some intraday things. When you have this on non-farm payroll Fridays and the market has a difficulty getting through an area where it would be buyers and where there'd be sellers, it's struggling now. It's not going to have, with a great deal of probability, a significant move higher or lower. So if you're looking at this environment right now and say you're a day trader or a scalper, this is where you move to the sidelines and you close the day. And you're weak right now and don't worry about anything. A fractal is basically, well, we have a turning point in here. We have a turning point in here. We have a turning point in here. We have a turning point here. And all these turning points, if you go down to a lower time frame, they are reproduced just in a smaller form of itself. And basically when I look at a fractal, I'm just looking at the turning points. It's not like it's a special pattern or anything. So it's stuck in between the breaker here and the bullish order block and here. No willingness to move. We've already closed in the void. So where can it reach for with a high degree of probability? It's uncertain right now. So does that make sense why the market really doesn't have an ability to move outside the range it's already created for itself? Because look what we have here. We have this low. Okay, this is in continuation of the understanding of why or what a fractal is. We have this low here. What was resting below that low? So what did they do here? They took out the sell stops and then rejected and went back up. They took out some buy stops above this short-term high, but now think just a little bit past this to the left. We have this old high. We had what above this short-term high? Prior to this run up here, what was resting above this short-term high? So we have buy stops taken out here. We have sell stops taken out here. So is the market balanced or imbalanced right now? Balanced. That means there's no imbalances right now where they have to quickly reach for the opposite side of the marketplace. Right now, we're going into the weekend balanced out. There's no indication that it wants to reach above here because it's already taken the stops. So the buyers are out, the sellers are out, and now we're neutral. So they're going to wait for the weekend to build sentiment. So you simply sit on your hands and you don't do anything. Does that make sense? So our opportunities are always at the end of the range. Okay, now let's go back for a moment. Let's assume for a moment that this was a little bit lower time frame. And this low hadn't been taken out yet. The probabilities if we were up here prior to non-farm payroll would be what? To reach for this high here or the low under here? Again, assuming none of this has happened yet, like the chart would look like that. It would reach for the low because it has already taken the buyers out with the buy stops. So the sell side liquidity has been untapped. It's not been traded to yet. As soon as it does this, it's already taken the sell stops out and it starts to rally high. If it takes this high out here and takes another realm of buy stops out like it does right there, and it's Friday and it's non-farm payroll, you've balanced out. There's no imbalance. You're back in the middle of what range? This high and this low. So you're at equilibrium with no real clear liquidity pools to reach for because both sides of the marketplace have been zapped. Is that clear? Does that make it clear for you? And then you'll have this market struggle to hang around in here. Now, day traders, scalpers, and nut jobs will be in here trying to capture every little thing they see, stochastics, all these MACDs, and all this other stuff. They'll be looking for some kind of signal, but the market's in a condition that really doesn't favor a move of any significance higher or lower. So when we look for trades, we're looking for the outer realm of specific ranges. Like we have a range high here. It took that out. Whenever we see an old high taken out, number one, we look for rejection or indications that it wants to continue. We have a low here. It's traded below that and then rejected. We have a low here. It traded below that and rejected. If it's rejecting this low and trades higher, what's it going to reach for? It's not going to reach for this high. It's going to reach for the buy stops here, right above the short-term high. We've already done that. We closed in the range and we traded back into the breaker. There's nothing right now it has to reach for before Friday's close. So you simply just move to the sideline. Now, since the dollar is going to be held in a range now, it's trapped. That's what I mean by it's trapped by a fractal. This swing point and this swing point has balanced out. No near-term open float is existing right now, except for the intraday high and intraday low that's formed prior to non-farm payroll. And that's about the only boundaries it'll probably reach for. And that's going to affect all the pairs like cable. Let's take a look at Euro pound. It certainly looks like it wants this buy-side liquidity. We'll be watching that Sunday. And gold, still, it's flat too. Silver, as long as it holds this bullish order block, I'll be good. So yeah, that's what we're looking at for today. Just want to toss something out there because there's nothing that we can discuss before we do the teachings. I'm going to throw this out there one more time. Please send me your satisfaction agreement if you haven't done so. I need that today by midnight. If I don't have it, you will be disconnected and interrupted. You won't be able to access the forum or the teachings tomorrow night on Saturday. And if your payment hasn't processed, please make sure that also, because that will also interrupt your service. Have yourself a pleasant weekend. Be safe. Keep your eye on the news wires about the events. I'm sure it's just going to continuously get worse as we go along in this wonderful adventure of Trump land. Until I talk to you again, good luck and good trading.